This week in games, Bioware lays off 50 people. We get new details on the PlayStation Portal. Xbox sells streaming rights to Ubisoft. And Charles Martinet steps down as the voice of Mario, alongside our impressions of Armored Core 6. This is the Two Penny Gamescast. What's poppin', players? Welcome back to the Two Penny Gamescast, episode 162. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and co-host. Say hello to the people, Connor Elliott.
Hi, how are you doing today? Oh, I was afraid my mic was muted for a second.
No.
How are you guys doing today?
Are you asking me or are you asking viewers? You're asking viewers?
Well, I guess no one's here to talk to live since we're not doing live streaming like usual. So, how are you, Tavin?
You know what? I'm doing okay, man. I'm a little tired. Just got done with my first week of school. Waking up at 6 a.m. is a different beast than anything else in the world. Oh, no, he's Tavin, sad he's waking up at 6 a.m. Yes, I am. All right? I don't like it. It's not fun. Anyways, Connor, this week I finished Prey. Credits on Prey, which, if you're a long-term viewer, you know we do a monthly video game book club called the Two Penny Game Club, in which once a month we sit down and we review a game of yore and rank it amongst other games and so forth. This month is Arcane's Prey. I just rolled credits on it, so you can expect a review for that, not this week, but next week on that one. This week, and at the end of this episode, we will be giving our Armored Core 6 impressions. We've been playing it over the weekend. None of us quite have had enough time to give it a full review, but enough to sort of talk about it and see where we're at with it. It's the best we can do with a three-man squad here.
Yep. With all these releases coming up. We got
so many releases,
Prey,
man.
Starfield. I want to get back to Baldur's Gate 3, but now we'll talk about exactly, how good Armored Core 6 is, but I want to keep playing it. So I have that on my list now.
Yeah. For sure. We'll get to all of that real soon. But, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, this is the Two Penny Gamescast. Each week at Monday, 8 a.m. Central Time, youtube.com/@2pennygames, and mainstream podcast services of your choice. Me and Connor sit down and we give you the new news you need to know concerning the video game industry. We each come to you with two topics, two pennies, if you will, and we give you our 2 cents on them. You can usually watch this show live every Sunday at about 4 p.m. Central Time over at twitch.tv/2pennygames. However, we've had quite a bit of rain in the last 2 hours. So, just to play it safe and to keep the quality of the actual podcast up, we're just recording locally this week. But we will be back live, twitch.tv/2pennygames, sooner rather than later. Connor, let's jump right into it, man. Let's get into our first story of the day. Our first topic, my first penny. Let's talk about it. Here we go. Hold on. I gotta take my time code. I forgot to take my time code. Here we go. Bioware is laying off 50 people. This is an update from the Bioware website specifically, and I'll read you their words directly. An update on the state of Bioware. This is from August 23rd, 2023. Hello again. Today, rather than discuss one of our upcoming projects, I'd like to share an update about the studio itself and outline our vision for BioWare's future. In order to meet the needs of our upcoming projects, continue to hold ourselves to the highest standard of quality, and ensure BioWare can continue to thrive in an industry that's rapidly evolving, we must shift towards a more agile and more focused studio. It will allow our developers to iterate quickly, unlock more creativity, and form a clear vision of what we're building before development ramps up. To achieve this, we find ourselves in a position where change is not only necessary, but unavoidable. As difficult as this is to say, rethinking our approach to development inevitably means reorganizing our team to match the studio's changing needs. As part of this transition, we are eliminating approximately 50 roles at BioWare. That is deeply painful and humbling to write. We are doing everything we can to ensure the process is handled with empathy, respect, and clear communication. With that last point in mind, I want to take a moment to explain how we got here, what we're doing to support our colleagues, and what this means for BioWare's current and future games. What's happening now? After much consideration and careful planning, we have built a long-term vision that will preserve the health of the studio and better enable us to do what we do best. Create exceptional, story-driven, single-player experiences filled with vast worlds and rich characters. The vision balances the current needs of the studio, namely ensuring Dragon Age Dreadwolf is an outstanding game with its future, including the success of the next Mass Effect. We've chosen to act now in part to provide our impacted colleagues with as many internal opportunities as possible. These changes coincide with a significant number of roles that are currently open across EA's other studios. Impacted employees will be provided with professional resources and assistance as they apply for these positions. While it's unlikely that everyone will find a new role within the company, we are committed to supporting our staff as they navigate this change. Our sincere hope is that they can continue their exemplary work at studios who stand to benefit immensely from their talents. Immediate impact. If you're wondering how all of this will impact development of Dragon Age Dreadwolf, let me be clear that our dedication to the game has never wavered. Our commitment remains steadfast, and we are all working to make sure this game's We are all working to make this game worthy of the Dragon Age name. We are confident that we'll have the time needed to ensure Dreadwolf reaches its full potential. I can also tell you that every member of our team, even those departing BioWare, deserves credit for crafting a spectacular experience. These are our colleagues and friends, and we would not be here without them. I'm so proud of all the work our team has done. What comes next? Wow, this is an extremely difficult day for everyone at BioWare. We are making changes now to build a brighter future. We're excited for all of you to see what we've been building with Dreadwolf. A core veteran team led by Mike Gamble continues their pre-production work on the next Mass Effect. Our commitment to quality continues to be our North Star. As cliche as this sounds, there truly is never a good time to enact changes like this, but we trust that we have the right leaders and team in place with vision, passion, and proven track records to deliver world-class Dragon Age and Mass Effect experiences that our fans will love. For now, I want to thank everyone at BioWare, past and present, for making the studio what it is. I also want to thank our community for continued support. We are eager to reveal more about Dreadwolf, and we look forward to discovering what else the future holds. Gary McKay, General Manager at BioWare. All right, that was a whole mouthful. Basically, BioWare's doing a lot of restructuring. Around 50 people are getting laid off because of it, because those roles are being eliminated. They're doing what they can to sort of shift these employees into other positions, either at BioWare or at EA at large, in order to make sure that they still land on their feet. And if they can't find them jobs, they are providing resources to help them sort of find new work opportunities. Connor, my question to you is, what does this do to your confidence in BioWare as a studio?
Well, they haven't really done much in recent years. The last good game they made was Dragon Age Inquisition, which is a very good game.
2014, almost a decade ago.
Exactly. That's a long time to take to release a good game. Since then, I mean, we saw some recent footage of Dragon Age Dreadwolf, and the reception to that was pretty lukewarm because it was very apparent that they were just kind of copying a lot of stuff from God of War. Do you remember that, Tavin?
What is this? I don't know. What
there was gameplay footage leaked that was showing it was basically just taking a lot of inspiration from God of War in terms of the combat system, the equipment system, basically it not being like the traditional Dragon Age that people are think of when they think Dragon Age, which. When you're trying to make a game, like I get you're trying to make a game that's successful and using a model that's already proven is a more surefire way to do it. With a franchise like Dragon Age that has had, a fairly long history, going back to, I believe, 2009 with Dragon Age Origins, and people having an idea of what Dragon Age is from those games, that and Dragon Age Inquisition, Dragon Age 2, of course. Yes, it very much does. And that's, but when you're BioWare and you're in such a bad state right now, doing, the extremely kind of, I want to say generic bet of just copying God of War in terms of its combat, at least, it's just really not the best move. And now we have a, story like this coming out of 50 people getting laid off. We don't know when Dreadwolf's coming out because, like, you didn't even know about it until I just told you right here. Because
there were reportings this last week that Dreadwolf has been internally delayed.
See, it's just bad news, and bad news comes out of that game. And the one time we see a little bit of it like I said, people kind of criticized it for being too, generic God of War. Which,
Listen, I'm not turned off by the idea of making Dragon Age a little more actiony, a little more God of War-y. I mean, Mass Effect is an action franchise, and that's their best franchise, I think, hands down. It's certainly their most consistent one when you talk about the trilogy. And then even, Mass Effect Andromeda's gameplay isn't bad. It's just got, some things that aren't great about it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a long time since we've had a banger from BioWare. It's been almost a decade since Dragon Age Inquisition, which was their last, great game. Of course, Mass Effect Andromeda had some ups, had some downs. Overall, left us a little disappointed. Anthem just didn't work at all. And now we're looking at a state of BioWare in which these are not the same people. This is not the same team that made the Mass Effect trilogy, that made the Dragon Age games. This is a different creative team now. Now, granted, BioWare is split into two different teams. So obviously we just got some sort of re-release of the Mass Effect Legendary Edition from one team that you assume is also working on the next Mass Effect. But now we're just sitting here, we got to scratch our heads and wonder, is Dragon Age Dreadwolf going to salvage the reputation and the status of BioWare? And at this point in time, I struggle to see how. It just doesn't seem plausible. And I'm not saying Dreadwolf is going to be a bad game out the gate. In fact, I'm sure it's going to be a perfectly fine game. Probably even a good one. But will it reach the heights of our expectations for old BioWare? No. But the best I think we can do is hope that it succeeds the expectations of current day BioWare.
Yeah, the only really core issue with that is what we keep saying, is that they haven't had a good game since Inquisition. So for a studio that just hasn't released anything good since then, they gotta kind of kick it out of the park. They don't have to make, let's say like a Baldur's Gate 3, which just completely revolutionizes what RPGs are. They don't need to do that. It'd be cool if they did, but obviously that's an unrealistic expectation. But just having like a fun game, just like, oh yeah, this is a good game, it's fun. That just leave that taste in people's mouth, I don't think is going to do much to salvage BioWare from the state that they're in, especially with Mass Effect probably being how many years away from completion? Years and years.
Oh yeah, who even knows?
Yeah, exactly, and that's going to be their next thing. Because if they've taken this long just to make Dreadwolf, how are they going to, how long are they going to take to release Mass Effect? And then what state is that going to be in? Because as you said, it's not like old BioWare anymore, which is what gave us those Mass Effect games. So if it doesn't bring us back to those times, this next Mass Effect, whenever it is, and then Dreadwolf is just kind of like, oh yeah, it's a fun, good game. BioWare's not gonna. Well, they haven't been on top in a while, but seeing them return to that upper echelon of game development, I just don't see it happening.
It just doesn't feel possible, and it hurts to say so much because there was a long time where BioWare was on top of the world, man. They were the ones that were redefining what RPGs could be. They were the ones that had us foaming at the mouth for the next release. I remember the hype around Mass Effect 3 was insane. And, people had other critiques about Mass Effect 3. I love that game. But it's just so heartbreaking to just see them now and then turn around and see, you brought up Baldur's Gate 3, a franchise that BioWare started. And to see, that one reach crazy success this year. Congratulations to the Larian team. But you just have to sit there and go, damn, man, this should have been a BioWare game, or this should be the response that BioWare games get and receive. And how Baldur's Gate 3 makes us feel is how BioWare used to make us feel. And now it's just like, damn, man, I'll just settle for a good one. If we could just have a good 8 out of 10 game, 7 out of 10 game, I'll take that. Because as of right now, it's just I haven't seen an output from BioWare that makes me excited for the future. You bought yourself some credit with the Legendary Edition, with how quality of a package that was. It was a wonderful package. And incredibly well polished as well. But a group of remasterings, no matter how much work you did on the first game or not, is not enough to give me confidence that a fully fledged BioWare AAA game is going to be knocked out of the park.
Very sad to see this happen. A giant go by the wayside. Hopefully, we kind of glossed over it, but hopefully these 50 people will be able to get their jobs back. Or
Of course. Oh,
get a job in the company.
We should have started there. I apologize. Yeah,
you did mention that. No, you mentioned that.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mentioned it, but we should have started there. Of like, hearts go out to those people. Hopefully, they find their feet and find new places that they're happy working at and so forth. Hopefully, this restructuring is sort of the gross medicine that BioWare does need. Hopefully, I'm gonna take them at their word here in that they're saying, "Hey, we need this. Like, we're too bloated right now. We're doing this huge restructuring so that we can focus and keep things, keep the quality up." Again, we won't be able to determine whether this was worth it or not until Dreadwolf comes out. Who knows when?
I don't. Not at this point.
Connor, at this rate, like, let's have a little bit of fun with the conversation now. At this rate, what comes out? Obviously, Dragon Age Dreadwolf, you would assume, is 2 to 3 years away.
I mean, I was thinking next year, or originally.
I was hoping next year, but after this story and after hearing that it's been internally delayed, I'm probably thinking 25 is probably the soonest we'll probably get it.
Yeah.
And even then, 26 doesn't seem crazy either. If it starts hitting 27, 28, okay, BioWare's in real trouble. But, I think Dreadwolf is in some sort of horizon. Like, we can kind of see that kind of shaping up.
Yeah.
My question to you is, Connor, what comes first? Mass Effect, whatever that is, or Elder Scrolls 6? We are on the eve of Starfield.
I think it's going to be Elder Scrolls 6. Because
Wow.
they're about to release their game. And I think they know what, like Todd Howard, he has a vision for Elder Scrolls. Bethesda themselves have a vision for Elder Scrolls. Obviously, they haven't begun working on it yet. They wanted to get Starfield out and make sure that's all fine and done with. But I think that once that's all, that Starfield's release is all said and done, they'll be able to hunker down and start making this game. Not incredibly fast. We're not seeing it here in like 2 years. We've talked about it before. Game development sometimes takes 6 years nowadays. Hopefully it won't take that long. Maybe 5, maybe 4 years. Hopefully 4 years.
If we're lucky.
Yeah, right. But even then, I mean, like comparing that to Mass Effect, which, they haven't even released Dreadwolf, which they've been announcing since. I mean, Dragon Age Inquisition came out in 2014, and people expected a sequel after that, and they announced it in like 2018 or something like that.
God, I'm trying to remember. It was at a Game Awards. Remember when they officially announced it, and it was like they weren't supposed to release that trailer, but BioWare themselves kind of did it. I think somebody got in trouble at EA for that. I'm trying to remember if Anthem was even out yet.
I think it had to have been. I think that was the whole like, oh, we're releasing Anthem, and
because Anthem came out.
We got something up.
2018. 20 was it? Yeah, 2018 or 2017.
My mouse is dead, so I'm gonna plug that in.
All right. Well, I've got you right. Wow, Anthem February 2019.
Jesus.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like that first Dragon Age announcement trailer was at Game Awards 2018. But let me see.
I mean, while you're looking that up, at the end of the day, it's been a long time since we've seen anything from when we initially saw Dragon Age Dreadwolf, and now they're still not even out with it right now. And with the Dreadwolf getting delayed, as you said, internally, these people getting laid off, I think Elder Scrolls 6 is going to go a lot smoother. Bethesda never strikes me as a company that screws up a lot of the time in regards to releasing things, with the exception being Fallout 76. Obviously, people weren't too big fans of Fallout 4, but it was still a good game at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, they've lost some goodwill over the years, because Bethesda, like BioWare, used to be top echelon game studios when you thought of the best ones out there, but they've retained a lot more relevancy than BioWare has. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they don't have issues like this, where they have trouble releasing, most of their games that they've had in the past decade. And so I think
it's also, you can kind of forgive them for Fallout 76. A disastrous launch, terrible launch bundles, and all of this. But it was a game outside of the wheelhouse that they weren't ready for, that they don't really have the talent for. That's not where their skills lie. So you can kind of forgive them for that. Dragon Age first teaser trailer was Game Awards 2018.
So long.
So long.
So long.
And now we're looking at 23, and it's like, bro, like, when is this game gonna come out? You don't know. So yeah,
Pitfalls of
and there's
announcing
part of me that thinks like, one, Xbox cannot have another loss, so they refuse to let Starfield come out and be bad. There's no way in the world that Starfield is gonna be a bad game at launch. Will it be 9s and 10s? We all hope. We would all hope so. But I think everybody would be satisfied with a really good 8 out of 10 with a Starfield game. But I also think Bethesda's hungry, man. Like,
They are.
I think Fallout 4 was a little bit like, I imagine that development process was a lot like what playing the game was, where it's like, man, this is great, this is fun. It's a lot like Fallout 3, though, isn't it? Like, it's a lot more it's more Fallout, cool. Whereas, like, most of the Elder Scrolls are a leap forward from, what is it, Morrowind to Oblivion, Oblivion to Skyrim. Like, you can feel the difference in those games. Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, certainly. Fallout 4 does play better, but not much better than Fallout 3. And so now it's been a number of years. When was Fallout 4? 2015, because it was the same year as Witcher 3. You know, that's 8 years now since a full-fledged Bethesda RPG. I think Starfield is going to be a banger. But from there, man, I don't know, man. I tend to disagree with you a little bit with my previous question. I think we get this next Mass Effect first, just because BioWare has 2 different teams. So Mass Effect is already in active development. Like, it's happening. Like, it's not like they're waiting to get Dragon Age out the door to have Mass Effect start. Whereas, like, maybe some pre-production on Elder Scrolls 6. But for the most part, the heavy development is still being worked on, you know? Like,
Yeah.
or
I just,
catching their breath as they get this game out the door.
you know, it's just ultimately Bethesda has taken a long time to release games, but that's just the state of things now. They don't have the issues that BioWare does, which just makes me not very hopeful that they can get Mass Effect out in time to beat Elder Scrolls. Maybe they'll come in the same year and different months. Who knows? But BioWare just has not gained that goodwill yet. Maybe if Dreadwolf's this, amazing game, that team will go over to. Yeah. Well, I guess they would go over to the Mass Effect team possibly right away. Anyway, I don't know how
they're in different
operate.
They're in like
they're different, completely separate. Yeah. So
I think it's a thing to the Bethesda conversation is Bethesda's never like put out like a flop of a game. Like, not really. Like, Fallout 76 still has a bit of a following now that they've fixed it up and given the players what they want, and a couple of expansions deep. Like, people enjoy Fallout 76 for what it is. Fallout 4 was a good game. Like, it was good. I think the big thing about Bethesda is they just aren't the cutting edge anymore. Or at least they weren't, in a pre-Starfield world. Who knows? Starfield could come out and change my tune entirely. But we saw sort of the passing of the baton over to like Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red, where they stepped in with The Witcher 3 and showed us what a crazy big ass RPG should be in the modern age, and then fell a little short with Cyberpunk, at least at launch. But it seems like they're getting that back on track. Did you see the headline? Cyberpunk 2077, the base game is getting all the upgrades that the expansion has.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, and I heard that there's a pretty big overhaul to the game itself in the DLC. Maybe this is the turnaround point for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be the game that they wanted to release initially, and then just kind of didn't. Anyways, Connor, we've talked too long about this. We need to move on to topic number 2, my second penny of the day. Let's talk about this PlayStation Portable. So we're pulling a write-up from Eddie Muckuk at GameSpot.com. PlayStation Portable, Sony's new, sort of, gaming handheld, is coming this year for $200. Sony has officially announced the name and price for its upcoming Project Q handheld streaming device for PS5 games. The system is called PlayStation Portal, and it will cost $200. It is set for release sometime later this year. Portal streams games from your PS5, so it's not a dedicated gaming device like Sony's PSP or PS Vita, but it is a way to play high-fidelity games on the toilet or in your bed from your PS5. The system features adaptive triggers and haptic feedback just like the PS5 DualSense controller. It sports an 8-inch LCD screen that can reach up to 1080p 60 FPS, provided the Wi-Fi connection is strong and stable enough Sony said Portal is aimed at people who live in homes where the TV is frequently occupied, or if they just want to play PS5 games in a different setting inside the same house. The PlayStation Portal plays your existing PS5 game library, but PlayStation VR2 games are not supported. PlayStation Portal has a 3.5mm audio jack for wired audio. It does not, however, use Bluetooth, according to IGN. Instead, the system has its own proprietary audio solution, PlayStation Link, that is currently only supported by 2 new Pulse headphones and earbuds from Sony. The Pulse Elite traditional over-ear headphones and Pulse Explorer earbuds can connect to any PlayStation Link supported device, and that includes PS5, PlayStation Portal, PC, or Mac, and a Bluetooth device. For example, Pulse Explorer can be connected to PS5 via the USB adapter using PlayStation Link, and also to a mobile phone through Bluetooth at the same time. While playing on PS5, gamers instantly can answer a call and hear it through the same Pulse Explorer earbuds, Sony said. PlayStation Link aims to offer, quote, low latency, lossless audio, Sony said. The Pulse Elite headset is priced at $150, and the Pulse Explorer earbuds cost $200. More details, including launch dates, will be announced soon. A PlayStation Link USB adapter will be sold separately as a standalone item so players can use their headsets on their PC or Mac.
It's very strange.
It is very strange.
It's not unreasonable though. It's not bad,
right? It's not.
Yeah.
That's not a crazy thing. Like now, let's be clear. I think all of us would prefer a new PlayStation handheld device of some kind. A PlayStation Vita 2, a PlayStation Portable, whatever. We would all prefer that. Or a PlayStation equivalent to the Nintendo Switch. We would all prefer that. PlayStation's not interested in giving us that, but they are interested in giving us a bit of a luxury accessory that gamers can sort of get their hands on if, for example, maybe their PlayStation is in the living room, they got kids running around, or they have a wife or a husband who wants to use the TV to watch a TV show or a movie or something, or the kids are on the TV playing their own games on a different console or something. The TV is being occupied. Let me pull out this PlayStation Portal real quick so I can still play my own thing. Or maybe you got young kids running around and you're playing the latest Resident Evil game and you don't want them exposed to that type of graphic imagery and so forth. So, all right, here, let me pull out the PlayStation Portal. Let me throw on some headphones so that I can still play the game that I want to play, but not impede what they're doing or not be shut down entirely. This offers a new option for gamers to play their PlayStation 5s, whether in the home. It's also said you can still take this out on the road. You just have to be connected to Wi-Fi in order to make it work. And of course, it will work better when you're inside the same house, connected to the same IP address as your PlayStation 5. But you can still take it out and about and work, and it'll work so far. $200. Not the happiest with that price point. I personally would have preferred probably $150. Would have been a really nice competitive price point for it. But I think $200 is about as far as they can stretch it without being, like, offensive. Like, I'm not like, ugh, $200. I'm like, all right, $200. You know?
Yeah, when I first saw the article pop up, and it was like, PlayStation Portal, $200. I was like, wow, this isn't $500. This isn't $600 like I'm so used to console products costing nowadays. Of course, then I actually read into it, and it's completely different from any other system like that. But yeah, the price point is unoffensive. You made a lot of good points. This is just a very specific tool, one that people like you and me, we have no interest in at all. But
I've got interest in this.
You do?
Yeah. There's so many times where my girlfriend Nicole is over and I want to play the game, but she's bored of reading her book or bored of being on her phone and she wants to watch TV or something. Dude, are you kidding me? The 7 seasons of Grey's Anatomy I was dragged through would have been way better if I could have been playing fucking Jedi Survivor next to her in bed. Or, this is not for when Spider-Man 2 comes out. This is not for me to play through the main game or the campaign. I want that on the big screen until I roll credits. But once I roll credits and I've had my emotional journey and I've seen where the story goes and I'm just swinging around, knocking out random crimes, picking up collectibles and all that. Yeah, sure. Here, pick up the PlayStation Portable, or excuse me, the PlayStation Portal. Yeah, sure. I'll pick that up. Baby, throw on whatever you want to throw on the TV. I don't care. I'm just gonna be sitting here having my fun. I think it's great that it has a DualSense controller, basically just split in half and connected to a screen. Adaptive triggers is great. I wish there was a way. I wish they had just gone ahead and provided maybe an extra $50 version for $250 to have the PlayStation Edge version, the DualSense Edge, available as an option. That would have been kind of interesting. But you know, I understand we probably don't want to go balls deep into this just yet. I was listening and reading to a whole bunch of different previews, people who've had the time to get their hands on the thing, and everyone seems, you know, kind of satisfied with the product they're getting. Of course, everyone would prefer something else, but like in terms of this product, the asking price and the quality of the product, it seems quality. I'm thinking about it. Will I actually pull the trigger on it? I don't know. I am, however, very interested in these new headsets. The Pulse Elite wireless headset at $150. The current PlayStation Pulse headset is currently marketing at $100. So I don't know if this is going to be much more of an upgrade. I think really it's going to be more or less the same type of headset that you can get, which are okay. They're solid for how budget they are, only being $100.
Is that what you have on your head right now?
No, these are Steel Series. These are I think these market at like $200, but I got them on sale. Yeah, these are like Steel Series 6 or something. I think these market at like $200 or something like that. But I kind of like the idea. I like the idea of this PlayStation Link that they're talking about, where you can connect to your PlayStation and have the audio feed through, and your PlayStation Party and your music, whatever you're playing with your PlayStation, having that, but that being separate from your Bluetooth audio. And then you can still, you know, connect Bluetooth to these headphones so that I can pick up a Discord call. I can have something playing in my ears and sort of mix and match it alongside my games, which I have the means to do that now, but it's a workaround. I have to plug it through my capture card and do all these things. This is kind of cool that it's like, hey, I can just kind of buy this $150, put it on my head, and connect it to my phone, and then we can talk in Discord also. Okay, cool. It's probably still like your typical headset. I'm not expecting the greatest quality out of this thing, but it's neat. It's a neat idea. Let's see if it works. Pulse Explore wireless earbuds also sound cool. Also wouldn't mind it. Probably won't.
Cool case.
Cool case for sure. Cool case. Cool shape. I think the form factor is really dope too.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff isn't for me, but there's always a market for these sorts of things. You know, I can go screw myself at the end of the day because I don't use it doesn't mean that a bunch of others don't use it or have situations like, I know you're done with Grey's Anatomy, but who knows what next show she'll make you watch. So probably just to get that in advance.
There's always something, man. Our TV preferences do not match up at all, you know. We did recently get through Breaking Bad, and she did enjoy that quite a bit. She was having a good time, but you know, those early seasons are slow, and she was, you know, she had to be kind of pushed through a little bit to get to the good stuff in it. But once that good stuff hit, then she was like, "Oh, let's go."
I'm on that same wavelength. I kind of had a difficulty. I stopped and started that show so many times just because I was like, this is just not as good as everyone says. But third season gets, you know, from there it's just high octane.
Well, it's never bad. It's just
it's never bad. Yeah, just doesn't keep you.
Well, I think also like on repeat viewings, you appreciate those early seasons more.
I can imagine.
You know, and that's because the quality is still there. It's just not telling the story that is interesting to you at the time. But then you go back and you see it. It's awesome. Anyways.
So is next Better Call Saul?
My mom wants to watch that.
Okay.
I think, you know, in terms of my girlfriend, she's cool. She's like, no, I'm good. I got my story. I don't need more of that.
Damn.
So mom wants to watch that. So we'll see if we pick that up. But right now, Connor, all I can think about is Ahsoka. Oh, man, let me tell you guys, as a Star Wars fan, first 2 episodes of Ahsoka dropped this last week. Oh, I'm very happy with it. Very excited to see where that's going to go.
Star Wars nerd.
Of course. Connor, let's move on to topic number 3. Your first penny of the day. Go ahead and run it down for us here in just a second when I switch the screen. Go ahead.
Important. The Verge is where we're drawing this article from. Microsoft to sell off Activision cloud gaming rights to Ubisoft in bid for UK approval. This is from Tom Warren. Microsoft is restructuring its proposed Activision Blizzard deal to transfer cloud gaming rights for current and new Activision Blizzard games to Ubisoft. The transfer of rights is designed to appease regulators in the UK that are concerned about the impact Microsoft's proposed $68.7 billion deal will have on cloud gaming competition. The restructured deal has triggered a new regulatory investigation in the UK that could last until October 18th. Quote, to address the concerns about the impact of the proposed acquisition on cloud gaming streaming raised by the UK Competition and Markets Authority, we are restructuring the transaction to acquire a narrower set of rights, says Microsoft President Brad Smith. This includes executing an agreement effective at the closing of our merger that transfers the cloud streaming rights for all current and new Activision Blizzard PC and console games released over the next 15 years to Ubisoft Entertainment SA, South America, a leading global game publisher. The rights will be in perpetuity, end quote. This restructured deal means that if Microsoft does close its proposed acquisition, then it will not be able to release Activision Blizzard games exclusively on Xbox Cloud Gaming. Microsoft won't be able to exclusively control the licensing terms of Activision Blizzard games on rival services either. Instead, Ubisoft will control the streaming rights to Activision Blizzard games outside of the EU and license titles back to Microsoft to be included in Xbox Cloud Gaming. Quote, Ubisoft will compensate Microsoft for the cloud streaming rights to Activision Blizzard's games through a one-off payment and through a market-based wholesale pricing mechanism, including an option that supports pricing based on usage, explained Smith. It will also give Ubisoft the opportunity to offer Activision Blizzard games to cloud gaming services running non-Windows operating systems, end quote. Ubisoft will also add Activision Blizzard games to its Ubisoft Plus multi-access subscription, which is available across PC, Xbox, Amazon Luna, and on PlayStation via Ubisoft Plus Classics. The UK's Competition and Markets Authority, CMA, thank God they acronized that, first blocked Microsoft's deal in April, citing cloud gaming concerns before agreeing to negotiations with the Xbox maker following the Federal Trade Commission's loss in a U.S. federal court last month. Now the CMA has signaled a new investigation phase thanks to Microsoft's restructured deal, with a statutory deadline set for October 18th. The same deadline that Microsoft recently agreed to in its extension of the deal closing date with Activision. A source familiar with Microsoft's plans tell The Verge that the company now isn't expecting to be able to close its Activision Blizzard deal until early October. The CMA has now imposed a final order on Microsoft's original deal, prohibiting it worldwide while it investigates this new restructuring of the proposed Activision Blizzard acquisition. The CMA notes, quote, Ubisoft will also be able, for a fee, to require Microsoft to adapt Activision's titles to operating systems other than Windows, such as Linux, if it decides to use or license out the cloud streaming rights to Activision's titles to a cloud gaming service that runs a non-Windows operating system, end quote. The restructured transaction won't affect Microsoft's obligations to the European Commission, though. Microsoft has made several cloud gaming deals, and EU regulators approved the Activision Blizzard deal thanks to a free license to consumers in EU countries that would allow them to stream via, quote, any cloud game streaming services of their choice, end quote. All current and future Activision Blizzard PC and console games that they have a license for. Quote, the agreement with Ubisoft has been structured so that Microsoft will still acquire the rights needed to honor fully its legal obligations under its commitments to the European Commission, as well as its existing contractual obligations to other cloud gaming streaming providers, including NVIDIA, Boosteroid, Ubitus, and Enware, says Smith. The CMA will now assess the reworked deal over the coming weeks and deliver a decision by the October 18th deadline. Quote, this is not a green light. We will carefully and objectively assess the details of the restructured deal and its impact on competition, including in light of third-party comments, says Sarah Cardell, chief executive of the CMA. Our goal has not changed. Any future decision on this new deal will ensure that the growing cloud gaming market continues to benefit from open and effective competition, driving innovation and choice, end quote. In an internal memo to Microsoft employees...
Keeps going.
I know, right? Xbox chief Phil Spencer praised Sarah Bond, head of Xbox Creator Experience, for her, quote, exceptional leadership, end quote, during the regulatory process. Spencer also expects the CMA's review process to be completed before the new deal deadline of October 18th. Here's the full memo.
The memo is the same thing we just talked about. So we can...
my throat. The worst thing is my throat hurts today. So it's...
it hurts to be a podcaster sometimes. Lord alive. All right. So that's a lot.
I'm done. I'm tired of this dumbass, stupid deal. Just buy him or fail. Do one. I don't care. I really don't. Just do. It's gonna suck either way. Either Activision Blizzard is gonna continue to be headed by breast milk drinking weirdos, or they're gonna be, Xbox, Microsoft are gonna be locking down a whole gaming space with buying Activision Blizzard. Either way, it sucks. Both options suck. So, sure, I hope this goes through in some form or fashion. Easily, but
yeah, well, I mean, whatever to get Call of Duty, right? So let's go ahead and sell off the streaming things. This seems a little short-sighted on Microsoft's side, but I guess, the benefits of owning Call of Duty will be more than enough to make up for it. The craziness of, hey, these are our games, they're first party, but in order to have them streaming, we've got to sell the rights to Ubisoft. So now we have to ask Ubisoft every time we want to put our own games on our own streaming platform. We have to ask them for the rights to do that, and then they'll license it back to us for those specific games, and then they have to update those games. What if one year Ubisoft's like, no, you can't do that.
Right?
Like, no, I guess in return, Xbox goes, all right, well, then we're not letting you have any of it. Like,
sorry, cut you off.
Please, go ahead, please.
It's as you said, they get Call of Duty from this. They're going to get World of Warcraft. They're going to get Overwatch. Maybe that'll turn around and go back to its more, Prime days. What other things do Activision Blizzard have? So many things. They're
also King, so Candy Crush.
Oh, see,
very important.
These things are pretty inconsequential if they can just get the CMA off their back, because they've consistently, through this acquisition, been the biggest blockade to that. When we first were hearing some of this news about how the court procedures were going, that was the first one we heard about. And it really cast a lot of doom and gloom on the whole deal. That was until, of course, over here in America, they were just like, sure, whatever. They looked at it reasonably.
Well, also the European Union. Europe as a whole was like, yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yes, they were. It was just
it's them dirty Brits.
They always are getting their greedy little hands into something. God. But, I mean, that just all doesn't matter. Activision Blizzard needs to be acquired. At least that's what they think. Because, any cost is not too great.
We'll see, man. We'll see.
You see. What are you talking about? They're going to get it, Tavin.
Well, we got 2 more months of this. But, we're going to find out what's happening sooner rather than later. And, we'll keep giving you the updates here, at least the important ones. And this is an important one. It's definitely going to be confusing going forward with all of this, but, God, I'm just waiting to see in 10 years it's going to be Microsoft to acquire Ubisoft and retain its retain its rights to streaming or some shit. It's gonna be crazy.
I'm not very educated on these kinds of acquisition deals and how they affect things down the line. But what if Sony got Ubisoft? Huh? What would happen then?
Shit gets complicated, man.
Yeah, I feel like it would. Maybe it's not as complicated as I think, with my small mind on this issue.
Listen, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just some guy on the internet who likes video games a little too much. That's all I can tell.
I don't like using language intended to confuse people like these damn lawyers do. So I'm a layman. I'm a simple man.
The language isn't that complicated, really. Like, we understand what's happening. It's just like, it's a matter of like the whole story of it. It's like, okay, wait, so Activision Blizzard, bad guys, Microsoft, not so bad guys, want to buy bad guys, but then like, what? And then now they have to sell the streaming parts of that? What does that even mean? In 10 years, it'll mean something huge. And I'm not sure if, Xbox will they might come to regret this decision. But, if it's what gets it through the door in Britain, then it's what it gets through the door. I think I might have lost Connor here. Phil, are you there? I know you joined the chat. Let me know if you're here. There's something going.
I am here.
Yeah, okay. Phil is here. So we've lost Connor here.
Yeah,
power flared off. Power flared off. All right. Well, in that case, ladies and gentlemen, I'll go ahead and I'll close this out with our last topic here, which is here. I gotta switch all of this around. Which is Charles Martinet is stepping down as the main actor for Mario. This is coming from the Twitter account /X account from Nintendo of America. Charles Martinet has been the original voice of Mario in Nintendo games for a long time, as far back as Super Mario 64. Charles is now moving into the brand new role of Mario Ambassador. All right, well, here, hold on. Let me change this for the video, guys. All right, there we go. Charles is now moving into the brand new role of Mario Ambassador. With this transition, he will be stepping back from recording character voices for our games, but he'll continue to travel the world sharing the joy of Mario and interacting with you all. It has been an honor working with Charles to help bring Mario to life for so many years, and we want to thank and celebrate him. Please keep an eye out for a special video message from Shigeru Miyamoto and Charles himself, which we will post at a future date. Big man Connor, you're back. Welcome back. We just got done reading the story for the Mario. Here we go. Hopefully you're muted right now.
You continued without me?
I did. I kept the ball rolling. The show must go on, my friend. I can't just sit here and wait.
Come on, man. That's very rude.
Oh wait, we're not live. The power of editing is in my hands. I could have waited. Anyway.
Yeah, see, that was what I thought. I was like, oh well, we're not live, so it'll just be a quick we'll start back off where we are.
No, it's canon now. It's a canon event.
Happens dumb, dude.
Anyways, Connor, Charles Martinet no longer voicing Mario. What are your thoughts?
It's sad, but it's inevitable. Yeah. I mean, I have a hard thing to sell everybody. Everyone dies.
Fucking Christ!
It gets lighter.
Where are we going?
But with death means that you have old age. And after a while, the older you get, the less you want to work, the less you should be doing. It should be the relaxation. You should be like chilling as much as possible. And Charles Martinet is no exception to that. Obviously, he loves this series, but he could take other roles. He could step back and be the Mario ambassador, whatever form that's going to take. Probably just showing up at showcases. Doing some PR for the
live
new Mario
events.
game that
He'll
comes
be at
out.
Super Mario World all the time. Out in Disneyland or whatever. And yeah, he'll do the voice for fans and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to cap him off rather than just say, okay, you're done, go off to the side, go elsewhere, because he clearly loves Mario. It's the thing that launched his career to the level that he is. He's a great voice actor, by the way. That shouldn't be undersold as well. I don't know how he's going for what he's doing with other voice roles. I'm assuming he might be stepping down from those as well. But regardless, it's a good position to be the Mario ambassador, to still be the face of Mario, the public face, while not having to do the legwork that comes with voicing him in all the games that they tend to do with Mario in it. So it's disappointing, but it's inevitable, and it's probably for the best.
Listen, Mario 64. I'm looking up the release date right now. That was the first time we ever heard a Mario voice. 1966, June 23rd. So that's nearly 30 years of voicing Mario. Hey man, he put in that work, and as far as I know, it's just been him, really. Maybe in one of the old animated cartoons or whatever, it wasn't him, and then obviously the new Super Mario Brothers movie, it was Chris Pratt. But he had a lovely he was 2 cameos, right? He was obviously Mario's dad, which how appropriate is that? Is that his last role voicing anything to do with Mario is the father of Mario. That's awesome. Yeah. And then, obviously, and it's worth noting, Super Mario Wonder, which comes out in October, will not have Charles Martinet as Mario. It's a different guy doing that. And I'm sure that'll be fine. I'm sure most people won't even notice. There were, people on the internet who were like, yo, Mario sounds different. Is it not Charles in this game anymore? And lo and behold, you're right. It's not him. But, salute to Charles. I think this seems like the best way. I think it feels like his choice. Is what this feels like. And I may have read something that maybe it was his choice to step down and spend time with family or something. I don't know what that's all about. That's his business. I'm not here to report on that. I'm just here to report that he's no longer doing it. So yeah, salute to Charles Martinet. Thank you so much for lending your talents for so many years. And thank you for caring. There's so many times an actor is best known for one role, and he grows to dislike it or whatever, and won't do it. Shout out to some of these OG voice actors, OG video game actors that just sticking, with it. I think of Charles Martinet here. He's always down to do the voice. He's always down to bust out and record a voicemail or a video with you or whatever. David Hayter is someone who I think of who always willing to bust out the Solid Snake voice and so forth. Jennifer Hale, always willing to jump out and do whatever voice you want her to do.
Yeah, right. Wait, I'm sorry, because I really do like his voice actor. What's his?
Who we looking
Ruben Langdon from Dante from Devil May Cry.
Ah.
He very much loves that role as well. It is always a nice thing to see someone enjoy their role, take to it a lot.
Right. So
it becomes their character at that point.
And I think it's clear that like Martinet has no like distaste for the character or doing the thing. Like he's still out here, man. He's still doing his thing. Nintendo will fly him out to Comic-Cons or whatever and have him, be on a panel and do the voice or whatever. And it'll be fun. It'll be great. It's the most respectable way to get through this. And big ups to Nintendo. Big ups to Charles Martinet, and salute to Charles. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the news for the Two Penny Gamescast this week. We are going to roll right into our impressions of Armored Core 6, so stick around for that. Remember, you can always get this show live at twitch.tv/2pennygames Sunday at 4 p.m., except not today. But most Sundays we're live doing this. We are also at youtube.com/@2pennygames Monday 8 a.m. Central Time, alongside every mainstream podcast service of your choice, except for SoundCloud. We're no longer on there. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, follow us on TikTok, follow us all on all the social medias down in the description below. And make sure you catch the final episode of my first time playthrough of Super Mario Sunshine. Just went live this last week. The full playthrough is now up and live on the YouTube channel. You can go and binge watch the whole thing right now. Please do so, because it was a lot of fun doing it, and I hope you have a lot of fun watching it. And until next time, have a great time. And Connor, say goodbye to the people until you say hello to them again in 2 seconds.
See you again in 2 seconds.
What's poppin', players? Welcome back to a Two Penny Games review / impressions this time of Armored Core 6, The Fires of Rubicon. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friends and co-hosts. Say hello to the people, Connor Elliott.
Hello again, after 2 minutes.
After 2 minutes.
Relatively.
If you're listening to the Gamescast, Monday, 8 a.m. And say hello, Phil Shoemaker.
Hello.
Hello. Gentlemen, we've all been playing Armored Core 6. We are, as of right now, all about the same part, which we've all completed Chapter 1. Connor, I believe, has done one extra mission. Phil, I don't know. I just know that he's completed Chapter 1. So
that's correct.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Me and Phil, exact same page. And so, gentlemen, we didn't really talk about it, but I don't see the need to really do our full hullabaloo review, everybody talk, or special segments or something. I think we can just kind of talk about the game. I'll go like kind of first and just kind of lead off. Hey, I really like this game. This game's pretty fun. I wasn't sure how much I was going to like it until I started getting deeper and deeper into it. But the deeper I go, the more and more I appreciate it and the more and more I like it. It's very much just your classic mech building fantasy game where the focus is building out your mech and building out loadouts and so forth and customizing it and really just having the coolest mech that you can possibly have. And pretty much everything about the game is in service to that, whether it's the story and the narrative or just sort of the overall general gameplay design and so forth. This is from Software, of course, from such games as Elden Ring and Dark Souls and Bloodborne and all that. This team specifically is the one that worked on Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, which is my personal favorite FromSoft game that I've played. And it shows here with the fast-moving player characters and the fast combat and sort of a more focus on quick reflexes and some positioning and so forth. But I'm very much enjoying it, and I think it's just a lot of fun, man. And the more you put in, the more it's there. And, I think this is one of the more accessible From Software games. Like, you don't have to be a super crazy good gamer outside of a couple of checkpoints where they really do say, all right, we're going to turn it up. It's still a FromSoft game. So there's still definitely some moments of difficulty. But overall, I think this is one of their more accessible titles, just in the fact that it's not constantly beating you over the head. It's just occasionally beating you over the head. Connor, where are you at?
Well, as I said, chapter 1. I finished chapter 1, chapter 2, episode 1, I guess you could call it. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this game as well. It's my first foray into the Armored Core series. Very much a well-respected series back in the day. It's kind of the first one in a while. So from what I understand, yeah, you are right, Tavin. It is very much about positioning. It's about builds, modifying them to suit your needs. Because when you're going out to the missions, you can change your mech whenever you die, your weapons, your armor, whatever. And particularly with the bosses, only with the bosses, you need to do that because some builds are just better at taking down some bosses than others. Like for example, some of the varieties you can do is your more balanced mech, which is the one that I'm going for. Maybe you dual wield ranged weapons. Maybe you have dual melee weapons, which is kind of crazy. I myself go for a melee weapon, a sword in this case still, and having my gun, a trusty good old firearm. But I'm not in some of the other builds where I'm very lightweight and move extremely quickly, but I'm a little bit more prone to damage, but that is an option that the game offers you. The more tank-like, tread-based mech, I guess you could call it. I don't know what the exact builds are called, which allow you just to take a lot of hits and completely devastate your opponent with, really, really heavy firepower. The one that has the spider legs that you can use to float a lot and, just kind of take a more aerial approach to the game. There's a lot of different ways you can play it, and it does incentivize you to try these new ones out because you have to buy parts, but you could also sell parts, and you sell them for like the original price they were at, maybe at a reduced amount, slightly, but enough to where it tries to get you to say, okay, try this out, and then try this out, and do this and do that, which unfortunately you can't do on missions themselves, so you have to take advantage of the arena to train your mechs and know what exactly is suited to your play style. But
you can also just replay old missions.
You can. Oh yes, you can.
And that's where I'm getting a lot of my money when I feel the need to buy.
You just get diminished money.
Yeah, but it's only a one-time diminishment. It's every playthrough after that, it's the same. So if it was like they would give you like 500,000 for beating it the first time, and then 300,000 every time after that.
Yeah, it's already clear that it has a lot of replayability, which I think previous Armored Core has that as well, being a part of its game. But seeing as how this is the first one that I'm into, the only thing that I've heard is different in this game is kind of those Sekiro inspirations of having a stagger meter that can be affecting you or your opponent. So it's actually a very reasonable tactic, especially with certain bosses like the first one after Chapter 1 in Chapter 2, which it's good to get that stagger bar up so you can do massive amounts of damage and open them up to basically any attack that you desire to do. It's extremely fun, fast-paced. I'm really loving this game right now, and I'm looking forward to playing more.
Phil, where are you at, buddy?
I am also in the same boat as you guys. I've completed Chapter 1 literally while y'all were doing the podcast.
Very nice.
I defeated, I can't remember his name, but the big boss, which a lot of people are saying is the hardest boss in the game.
So far.
I've been reading. He's undeniably he's like a top 5 difficulty, maybe even top 3 or whatever. But I think the thing that makes him so hard is that he comes at you so early when you have so little different builds that you can do.
Yeah, as far as builds were going, I was working with I had, I think it was a shotgun in my main hand, and then I had a bazooka in the left, and then I unlocked the ability where you could have a primary weapon on your back, so I could swap it to a sword, and so I would use the sword to slice him up as I would break his armor and do extra damage, and then I just had a missile launcher on my other shoulder. That was how I ended up getting him. I think once I switched to that build, it took me 4 or 5 tries, something like that, but I ended up getting him. I'm building mine based off of me being a huge mech anime fan. I based it off the Lancelot unit from Code Geass, which is super fucking cool. It's just cool gold and white, with some green accents, and the weapons are purpley and orange and super cool.
One of the best animes of all time.
Probably my favorite of all time.
That's good. That's a good choice.
If I had to think right now, for at least for the past few years, it has been. But I'm having a great time with this game. Of course, as we mentioned, it's a From Software vehicle. Also my first foray into the Armored Core franchise. Very, very fun movement, very fun, kind of fantasy fulfillment of just running around in a mech, blowing shit up, fighting other mechs. The voice acting in this game is really cool. I like a lot of the the actors they got for it. They got Ray Chase as I think the Arquebus guy. You got Patrick Sates, who's your handler guy.
Okay.
Fantastic.
I'll say
voice cast that we have here.
Everything about the voice acting or just the dialogue or story in general, it's just like, hey, what can we say that's cool? And that's it. And it's like, I'm not really paying attention to what's happening. It's just, all right, 621, now you gotta go and destroy this facility and infiltrate the dam. And I'm like, all right, that sounds cool. Let me go do that.
It's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm having a great time. I've been toying around with different builds. I saw one online that was like a super fast like melee type build. I cannot work with it. It uses 2 different melee weapons, like you swap between one on your shoulder and one on your main hand.
Yeah,
did not work for me. I was trying that out in the arena. Maybe it would work better in like an actual mission, but as far as like this particular other armored core unit I was fighting, did not work out. I would just get melted.
My issue right now, my build, what I'm working with right now, what I beat chapter 1 with, is, well, for a long time I was using the default assault rifle that they start you out with. Yeah. But it was carrying me all the way until that chapter 1 boss, where I had to switch to the SMG for a little more power, less ammo, which sucks, so I have to conserve my shots a little more. But yeah, that one's really, really working for me. In my left hand, I have the shotgun, the little one-shot shotgun that just does a bunch of dude, the stagger damage on that motherfucker is insane.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And then I'm dual. It's different types of rockets, but it's homing rockets on both shoulders for me. One that goes straight up, and then one that is like just tracing and goes straight at you. But I'm really just enjoying the feel of the game. I'm enjoying the experimentation of it. I'm not into any of the charge weapons. Any weapon that charges, I just feel like it messes up my flow, and I can't get the right damage or timing in for it. And so I'm just like, all right, let me keep to the stuff that fires either one time or I can just hold it down continuously or something like that. Just so that I can sort of balance, like, all right, here's my little like chip damage with my SMG, my main damage with the shotgun, and then like the rockets I just shoot off whenever I can at the main enemy or whatever. But I can't get over how good this game feels to play. That's the thing with me, is like, I was running around replaying missions, building up some money to buy new parts for that chapter 1 boss, and I was having just as much fun. Like, replaying it was not like holding me back or giving me any less enjoyment at all. Like, it's very big, like Peace Walker sort of Phantom Pain vibes, where it's just like, you're loading up your missions, you're going through, and you're going back, and you're messing with your build a little bit and so forth. And I'm really, really enjoying all of that. I already, because you buy like more permanent upgrades in there by messing with what do they call it? The arena? Is it that?
Yeah, there's also like the something tuning where like you can kind of
it's called like OC tuning or something, AC tuning or something like that.
It's like OS tuning.
OS tuning, yeah, where you buy sort of like more permanent upgrades for your mech and so forth. And this is where you get things like a quick turn or a kick that you could do right out of your dodge or whatever, or like how Phil was talking about switching out your shoulder weapons for main weapons. And sort of like that, I started out and I was like, all right, let me get the movement-based ones. And I was like, you know what? I'm really not using them. Like, I'm not using this kick. I'm not using the quick turn. Let me reset that and get the things that I need, like, actually in this moment. So, like, I bought, like, the shield or something to kind of give me, like, just a quick edge in the moment or when I need it and so forth. And I've been kind of enjoying that. I love that, like, there's no wrong way to play the game, really.
Yeah.
Like, it really is like, hey, man, whatever, you got to experiment and you got to try, and, we're going to kick your teeth in if you fucking up. So you have to come with just like the, you gotta come with the skills, basically, to pay the bills, literally.
I was actually just about to talk about how much I love that this game rewards experimentation.
Yeah.
With how Connor mentioned it earlier, there's no penalty for selling your stuff back. It's exactly how much you bought it for.
That's cool.
I didn't realize that. That's what's super cool about it for me, is like, I'll try something out from the store and I'll be like, hey, I didn't like that. I'm not going to use it again. Sell it back, get my money, try something else. It's very, very neat.
See, I'm always nervous of like selling things off, so I'm like kind of hoarding things. There was one like hand cannon weapon that I tried out for a little bit, and I was like, I'm not really feeling it. I'm just gonna sell it back, and that was the only thing I've sold back so far.
It's nice to be able to do that. One of the other, like you mentioned it before, Tavin, how basically if you find a build that works for you, then go with it. If it's able to get you through the game, obviously sometimes you need to adjust depending on the bosses you're fighting or whatnot. But it's kind of like fighting games in that regard. It doesn't matter really what the tiers of the characters are, as long as you know how to play that character, as long as you are familiar with it, you can become just a good AC pilot. Which one of the other elements of this game that I'm sorry if one of you guys mentioned it and I'm just repeating it again. The mobility that you're offered in this game is some of the best I've had in gaming in recent years. You're able to have really good elevation, boosting upwards, using a boost that can take you very far distances very fast. That also factors into combat, allowing you to stagger people more easily. The dodge is very nice. You usually walk like just with your big old clanky legs, but there's no reason to do that.
Dude, I hate the walk so much. It pisses me off.
Just start me off in boost mode,
please. Like, why? Every time I respawned in that chapter 1 fight, at the end it starts you in walk mode, and it pisses me the fuck off.
What I was about to get into, because it frustrated me to no end.
It should be like start me in boost mode. And then if I want to turn it off to see how because it's really just like seeing like it walk. You just want to see what the walking animation looks like. And you're like, all right, I've seen it. Now let's get the boosting back. It's just so annoying. But I also like there's a like built-in, they call it like an aim assist mode or something. It just kind of helps you focus on one enemy a little bit more if you need to.
Oh, is that clicking in the right stick?
That's clicking in the right stick right there. That's what I was doing to kind of keep, because the chapter 1 boss is fast as fuck. He's really fast. So I would click in that right stick to kind of keep him in frame a little bit easier, just to kind of keep the focus up. I like that the game doesn't like punish me or make me feel bad for doing that. The fact that it's just on a simple button press and I don't have to go into a menu to do it. It makes me like feel like, oh, okay, this is a mechanic of the game that they do want you to use. There's a upgrade for manual aiming later on down the tree or whatever, and I'm curious to see if that's like worth getting at all. I imagine it is, otherwise they wouldn't put it there. So I'm very interested to see what that's all about. But yeah, Connor, to your point about mobility and just how it feels to move around this world, it's excellent. It feels so good. I don't know if I've played a game that feels this good since Sekiro. I'm trying to think, and I'm struggling to come up with one in the last couple of years that feels this good to play. Oh, you know what? Neon White.
Neon White felt great.
Yeah, but that is similar, like on the same tier, is all of these games, and I love it, man. And to talk about like sort of like the world design real quick, I mean, it's a lot of grays and a lot of like one color palettes in whatever level you're in. They'll switch it up and it'll be a snow level or water. Raining, or maybe like you're in a desert or whatever. But it's all kind of like one color palette, but like you just kind of believe the world you're in 100%, and all of the effects that are blasting off of your AC are just to like make you feel cool. Like everything looks and feels so cool while watching it. I'm watching the B-roll footage right now. Excuse me, that Phil recorded for us. This is his stuff. And it's just cool, man. Like his colors are a lot brighter than mine, and I'm like, it's kind of cool how his bright colors still kind of like play well in this environment, and so forth. Right?
Lancelot, baby.
Yeah. Right now, I'm rocking like sort of like an emerald green with a gold trend to it. Right now. But last night I was playing and I was like, you know what I should do? I should figure out how to make it look like Spider-Man is what I should do. And I'm excited to like get a little deeper into like the different like mech designs to find something that'll work for me in that sense. Which is interesting. We're talking about builds and so forth. It's funny how like your build is mostly based around the weapons you like and the weapons you use. And then the actual armor pieces that you are put on are kind of just to help you with play style and help you with equipping those weapons, because everything has weight and everything uses energy and you can overheat weapons and so forth. So like your chest piece, your head piece, your arms and your legs are kind of meant to sort of balance all of that out. It's not so much about how they look. It's not so much about benefits that they give. It's just sort of like to me at least, power balancing, making sure that I have enough energy to use these weapons, to make sure that I have or enough energy to use these boosters or whatever that prefer to use. Like I have the booster equipped where you can just kind of mash the square button a little bit and boost a whole bunch of times.
It's also kind of like each one, like obviously like the smaller, like thinner ones are going to have less armor, so you're going to have less health.
Yeah.
And like the bigger, bulkier ones are going to have a lot more armor, so you have more health.
Yeah.
So that's another like aspect to it.
And it's so crazy to me where it's like I prefer lightweight, faster characters and so forth, but I find myself being forced to use the more middle range stuff, just to sort of like be able to balance it with all of the other things that I need for the damage output that I want to do. It's really fascinating, just like how in depth these systems are, and yet you want to play with them. You don't feel, it's not like this. This is a franchise that could easily be tossed to the side of like, it's a little too nerdy. I don't want to dig in my menus that much or whatever. Like, I don't care about all of the little percentages and numbers going up and stuff like that. But this game specifically, it's like, yeah, it is that, but I want to play with it. I want to try out new things. I want to hop around and things. I'm reading weapon descriptions to like get like an in-depth view of what this thing is before I buy it and put it on. Like, that's not something I do in video games.
I'm having such a good time with this game though. It's legit. I was excited for it. Just because like it was a new mech game, and also like From Software, like within like with the past, I don't know, it feels like a decade, they've just been going crazy.
Oh yeah.
With like the quality of their games, and Connor's like smoking a snack right now. Whatever the fuck, it's some kind of like veggie straw or something.
It's a fry, a McDonald's fry.
Gotcha. And but yeah, it's extremely satisfying just moving around in the world, blowing shit up, and destroying other ACs and other little, what do they call them, MTs, like the little mini mechs or whatever.
Yeah, I so very quickly get distracted by them, and I'm like, oh, let me blow you up, and I'm like, wait, I can't.
Yeah.
I have an objective. I'm supposed to go do something.
Let me get focused.
Yeah.
This proves, guys, right? It's kind of definitive that From Software is one of the best game developers out in the game right now.
Oh, one of, yes.
One of, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, I've always thought that they were like, I don't know, top 5. I think they're probably top 3, at least for me.
I mean, because they've proven that with Sekiro, okay, game's vastly different. Well, they've proven it with every time they've moved from the Dark Souls formula. Elden Ring does, but not as much. It really just adds jumping, mobility, obviously the more open world aspects to it. But overall, it plays very similar to other Dark Souls games. But Bloodborne plays very different. Well, plays different, but still, has some similarities. Sekiro departs a little bit more from that, and Armored Core is a completely different type of game entirely. And yet they're still able to just make it extremely fun. The Sekiro team.
It's funny how this is still like this is a returning. Sorry to cut you off. This is a returning to roots for From Software, but it's also at the same time like branching out completely because they're not known for this. Like this is not what made them popular. This is sort of what was keeping them in the niche category until they popped out with the Dark Souls and so forth and started doing that. So it's fascinating that is. Anyways, Connor, continue your point.
Yeah, I was gonna cap it off by saying that the Sekiro team they know how to do good combat. Yeah, because Sekiro has some of the best combat in the FromSoft, like the Soulsborne games, and Armored Core is, as you guys, we've talked about it this entire time, gives you a wide breadth of ways to play the game and incentivizes you to do it because all the ways you can play it, all the different builds are extremely fun and entertaining.
All this harping and hemming and hawing we've had about this game and how much fun it is. It's a real shame Tavin decided to counterpick it.
Oh yeah, man, that hurt me real bad.
Why?
Now, granted, I did not believe it was coming this year. I did not believe From Software was going to back us because I don't know if they ever done that.
Oh yeah, Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne.
Yeah,
Bloodborne coming out first. Damn it, fuck.
Yeah, 2015 and 2016. Yep.
Oh man, this Sekiro team is fucking me up, man. But all for the sake of having great games. I will say, this game proves to me what I've always said about From Software. They do not tell great stories. Like this story, it's fine. It's there. It's whatever. The only reason that like it's getting dinged in reviews this time around as opposed to other From Software games is because they put it front and center. And it's like, yeah, when you put a From Software game story front and center, and you put it under its own spotlight, yeah, it doesn't match up. Like, it just doesn't, because they don't tell great stories.
I will say that the storytelling of Sekiro, Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Elden Ring is vastly different from that of Armored Core. Now, I don't really give into a lot of the criticisms of the story Armored Core 6 because it makes it, like, obviously it's very predictable with the way it does things, but it has interesting moments, like when you go and you're like, oh, go kill this Armored Core, this mech, because it's going to be, used by this company and we don't want to do it. And the person who's piloting it is just a student who's like, I'm gonna prove myself. And then you murder him.
And then you murder the fuck out of him.
You destroy them. Holy shit. And
it's kind of just
actually kind of sad.
It is, because it's just like, oh, he was just a guy.
Yo, this dude really thought he was a protagonist, man. He really thought.
I think it's great that what's funny is that is like the setup for like a mech anime protagonist. Is like they're just this I think of like Iron Blooded Orphans, something like that. Like that's what I think of.
Yeah.
Expert mech pilot.
Meanwhile, the player character silent, no expression, nothing. Like
totally silent, playing both sides of this war.
Playing. Is there only two sides? I was gonna say there's like 3 sides to this shit.
No, there's the people who like are the security, basically the government of Rubicon. There's the people who are taking advantage of the guerrilla front,
like
and then you have all these companies. The rebellion, and then you have all these companies that have their own stake here, that all have their own interests. And then there's another one that's introduced.
Arquebus and Balaam, right?
2. Yes. Balaam. There's so many. I can't remember them.
I only know those 2.
Yeah. Then there's also like a offshoot crazy group that basically do drugs, and that are revealed in chapter 2.
That's what this game has been missing.
Some drugs, man. Yeah. I mean, I will say the story has taken a small turn, I would say, at the end of chapter 1 that did make my ears go up, and I like sat up and I was like, wait, what's happening here? But almost immediately I was like, oh, okay, we're back to this. All right, cool, whatever.
Back to it.
So it's really like, I mean, it's in no shape bad. Like, it's not a badly told story or anything. It's just kind of dry, boring. This is, I think that, like, this is almost immediately became a podcast game for me, where I was like, all right, throwing on a podcast, playing my video game. Yeah, sure. Maybe I'll like cue in if the dialogue seems interesting, but for most of these missions, it's not. So I'm not really paying that much attention. And then like, only when like they decide to ramp the difficulty up, am I like, okay, let me turn the podcast off. I gotta focus and get my battle strategy going. But yeah,
Random baby game.
I'm very happy with this game. I'm gonna keep playing it. I don't know how much more I'm gonna keep playing it. This is a game that I do want to keep playing, but this is a busy year, and there are more games that already have more of an interest for me coming down the pipeline very soon, namely Starfield and Baldur's Gate 3 on PlayStation. So like, as soon as those hit, this game has 0 chance of grabbing any of my attention. But for right now, this is a really fun game. It's better than most of the games I've played this year, and I'm excited to play more.
Same. I'm gonna get pretty much right back to it as soon as we're done podcasting for the day.
Oh yeah, once I get everything uploaded, I want to play some more for sure. Connor, you're the From Software fanboy here, and this game seems very much up your alley. Where are you like feeling about this game in the overall Game of the Year conversation?
It's not Game of the Year. I can say that with certainty, but it's gonna be higher up there. I think. I'm not like you guys where I constantly plan out my game like list throughout the year and log everything that I've been playing. Probably should do that, but I don't. I always forget if I ever have the inkling to do so. But off the top of my head, the game that it is most like challenging for whatever spot it's going to place in, just based off the vibes I'm remembering from the past games I've played, is Jedi Survivor. It's kind of like between those two. They're both very similar in the level of quality. The thing is, Armored Core 6 is more refined, and so it really just depends on how the game progresses from here on out.
This is the first game that's given me pause and made me think, oh, this might be the best combat of the year. Instead of Survivor. Which is crazy because Survivor is just a FromSoft clone. But,
you can't beat some FromSoft at their own. You can't beat them at their own game.
Too legit to quit, man.
True.
Fucking crazy. For me, this is probably gonna hit my list somewhere. Where? I don't know. Probably not top 5 for me. But it's in there, and I'm really enjoying my time with it. Phil, how are you feeling? we
my
are
list
still
is-
early. We're all sub 10 hours. In
Yeah,
this, so
yeah,
like,
for sure.
it's hard to tell.
I'm definitely gonna put some more time into it. As far as my list goes, I could see this making it. I don't know at this point. Maybe it'll end up like number 5.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I could see it maybe going to 4, but just my list right now is so jam packed with the quality level of quality that we've had for games this year.
Yeah.
It's just insane me trying to think where I would put this on my list. I just have to, as soon as we get to like the point where we're setting out our definitive list, I gotta like actually think back like the whole way through and almost entirely redesign my list.
Yeah. I mean, there are 5 games coming out from September to November or there's at least 5 games coming out that I'm fairly certain are going to hit my list. So my whole shit's going to look very different. As of right now, I don't even know if Armored Core 6 is hitting my top 5 right now. It might. It's really competing with like Octopath Traveler 2 right now. Is where it's at.
My thing I'm dreading, which I think is something that's going to happen, is I have to kick off the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog off my list, which I'm not happy about.
Hurts the heart. Hurts the heart to see. Phil, would you believe it if I said Minecraft Legends is still on my fucking list?
Get that shit out of there, dude.
It will be. Armored Core 6 is kicking it off, but yeah, it's on there still.
Did Hogwarts Legacy?
No,
it came out this. No,
it came out this year, but it's not
this
on the
year.
list. Yeah,
but it's not on my list.
Yeah,
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, so Hogwarts got kicked off a while ago for me. So
yeah, it was never on my top 10.
That is one difference between me and Phil. Is Phil? Correct me if I'm wrong, but you like save slots where you're like, I know Spider-Man's gonna be in here somewhere, so I save like a top 3. Yeah, I don't do that. I fill it out as I go, and then I filter them out as new ones come in. So
there's currently only one open space in my list right now.
Yeah, that's why like I have a full 10. I'm not proud of this 10 right now because right now I have Minecraft Legends, and even though I'm enjoying it, Stray Gods, a role-playing musical, Disney Illusion Island. Shit, man, Diablo 4 might get kicked off my list, and I really enjoyed that game. So, my list by the end of the year is going to be 50% different than it is right now.
I'm this year has made me super excited for when we do our recap of our top 10s.
Yeah.
For the Two Penny Gamescast, I'm super excited to see what all of our lists looks like because I feel like this is gonna be the most varied year that we've had.
Ooh, I don't know, man. Because my list was and Connor's list is always fucking weird.
Yeah.
Connor's always got weird shit. Like it's he'll pop out with some Warhammer game that I didn't even know came out, and I'll be like, what? When the fuck? Where was my review, Connor?
Didn't you have last year? You had 2 different Warhammer games on yours, didn't you?
What?
I don't think so.
Darktide. I think I just had Darktide.
Okay.
Nah, I think he's had a Warhammer game every year though. He's not like your ass, Phil, where you had 2 Pokemons last year.
Okay. Let's relax.
They were different games.
Very different Pokemon games.
Because I had the different lists last year ahead of time. I was able to like tabulate points and so forth, and sort of create a Two Penny Games top 10 of the year and so forth. Last year, like you knew what the top 3 were, easy. Like it really wasn't that hard. This year, that top 3 is gonna. It's gonna be hard to guess that top 3.
Yeah.
Last
year's top 3 being God of War, Ragnarok, Elden Ring, and Neon White.
Yeah, and then like this year, like there's some like sure bets that you can probably guess on. You can guess on Zelda. You can guess on maybe Jedi Survivor. But then from there, it's like I don't know, man. Starfield might be in there. Baldur's Gate might be in there. Spider-Man might be in there. We've got
that's my one open space that I'm saving for what I anticipate to be Spider-Man. But you know, with all the other games coming out this year, you got Mario Wonder, you got Baldur's Gate, you got fucking Armored Core, which we're playing right now.
Yeah, and we're still not sure where this is gonna land because again, the further and deeper I get in, the more and more I like it. And so like, who knows? By the time I roll credits, I might immediately be like,
frozen.
Do it again. Is Connor gone again? No, he's still here. All right.
No, man, not yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for our Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon impressions. We're really high on it. It does not look like at any point we're going to become any lower on it. So we go ahead and give it a full recommend. Phil? No?
Oh, maybe he's frozen?
Maybe he's frozen. Maybe he's the one with the problems. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching and listening. Let us know how you're feeling about Armored Core 6 on launch week alongside with us. And let us know where it's landing in your Game of the Year conversation. Until next time, have a great time. And I guess, Connor, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye. Bye, Phil.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there he is.
I'm back.
Phil, say bye.
I'm back. Bye.